Now there's one last thing to do that's pretty dang important. So thrust reverse is a big deal. Everybody likes to use the thrust reverse that comes with the smart speed controls, including me, right? Well, one time, man, this one time in band camp. Hey YouTube, it's Sean, Griffin RC Planes. So we just got done doing a video how we connected the AVIAN Smart Speed Control Programmer to the AVIAN Light Smart Speed Control in the Extra 330 to make sure that the firmware was as upgradable as it can go, as good as it can get. And then we just use the SPEKTRUM USB program cable and registered and updated the AR631 receiver that's in the new 330. So we got all that done. Now there's one last thing to do that's pretty dang important. So thrust reverse is a big deal. Everybody likes to use the thrust reverse that comes with the smart speed controls, including me, right? Well, one time, man, this one time in band camp, I flipped the wrong switch and my poor little beaver went into reverse and in mid-flight, and by the time I realized what had happened, it was already coming down and I had to do a controlled crash landing. Bent the landing gear up. That cost me like $50. I had to tuck my tail between my legs and my beaver was busted, and I'm not going to let that happen again. So the nut, if the nut on my beaver was replaced, possibly I wouldn't have had that problem. So the nut on this prop shaft works really well if you're not using reverse, because as the propeller is spinning, it's constantly keeping the nut tight. Well, when you throw it in reverse, the nut can come right off, and that's what happened to my beaver. I went into reverse on accident, and the dang nut came off, and then the propeller was no good, and so on. So nylon locking nuts is what you need to put on your planes if you're planning on using thrust reverse. Right here. Regular nut on the left, the nylon locking nut is on the right. It has nylon inside of it, the threads, and then a portion of nylon. So as you start screwing it down, it'll get to the nylon and it'll lock on there. The thread pitch for this plane, E-flite Extra 330, is an M8 1.25. So it's a metric 8mm with a pitch thread of 1.25. Not all planes have the exact M8 125, but this one does. The nut starts just like they all do, and then it got a little tighter right when it started to get to the nylon. And you can see right there, the threads are just starting to get into the nylon. That's when it started to get tight. So at that point, you need to put a wrench on it, and so on. And then, when you hit reverse in mid-flight, your propeller's not going to fly off. Alright, so if you don't want the nut flying off your beaver and having a bad day, then get yourself a nylon locking nut for your particular plane that has thrust reverse. Old nut, locking nut. Alright guys, that's all for this one. I appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. It's the best way to support me. And at 20,000 subscribers, we're going to do a 3-jet giveaway. 1, 2, 3 jet giveaway. You don't want the nut flying off your beaver. It was a bad day for me, guys. Okay, guys, hey, thank you so much. Like, share, subscribe, and like again, and some more shares and likes and all that stuff. And adios.